Okay, are you ready? That was loud. We're going to call this meeting to order. Could we have, Dave, do you want to lead the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the clerk to do the roll call.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here. All right, we're going to move on to item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Ask the clerk to read correspondence.
The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in a letter approving Canna Low Life's license for marijuana processor. Mason Web TV sent in their 2019 fourth quarter statistics. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in a special occasion license for Harmony Hill of Union. And the Liquor and Cannabis Board also sent notice of marijuana license application for Evergreen Grow Pro.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to item number 5. This is the time we set aside for the public to have the opportunity to address the commission regarding items that are not on today's agenda. If you wish to address the commission, please raise your hand and the chair will recognize you. Please state your name and your address before you comment. So do we have any comments from the public? No? All right. Then we will move on to item 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Madam Chair, I move adoption of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for today. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion or agenda is adopted. Move on to approval of the minutes, which there are none. So we'll move on to item 8. This is approval of our today's action agenda. Commissioners will read through the items on the action agenda. Commission or members of the public can ask questions and or have the item removed for a separate discussion and vote. I will read items 1.1 and 1.2. Commissioner Schutte, if you could read items 8.3 and 8.4. And Commissioner Netherland, if you could read items 8.5 and 8.6. Item 8.1 is approval of the resolution increasing the hourly rate for Superior Court Miscellaneous Court Commissioner hourly rate from $60 to $75 effective January 1st, 2020. Item 8.2, approval to extend the Pacific Security Contract for armed and unarmed weapons screening for courthouses and campus security patrol from August 31st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020.
Madam Chair, item 8.3, approval for the chair to sign the Enterprise Fleet Management lease agreements. And item 8.4, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims clearing fund warrant numbers 806-9743 through 806-9774 in the amount of $1,616,819.36. Direct deposit fund warrant numbers 64944 through 65319 in the amount of $709,473.26. Salary clearing fund warrant numbers 7004916 through 7004952 in the amount of $995,827.44. And treasurer electronic remittance for December 2019 in the amount of $1,042,433.86.
Madam Chair, item number 8.5 reads approval of the resolution increasing the hourly rate for District Court Judge Pro Tem and District Court Commissioner to $75 effective January 1st, 2020. Item number 8.6, approval to authorize Public Works to advertise construction projects, inspector, contract, and fee appraisers, construction material testing, and timber management services for 2020 calendar year, and authorize the county engineer to enter into agreements for these services.
Okay, great, thank you. Now that we've read through today's action agenda, are there any items you would like to be removed for a separate vote?
Commissioner, I'd like to have item 8.3 removed for a separate discussion and vote.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, are there any items that the public would like to be removed for a separate vote? All right. All right. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the action agenda as presented with the exception of 8.3, which would be removed for a separate vote.
All right, we
Second?
we have a motion and a second to approve the action agenda, but removing 8.3 for a separate discussion and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nope. All right. So then we move on to 8.3. All right, so we're going to move on to item 8.3, approval for the chair to sign the enterprise fleet management lease agreements. Remove that for discussion.
So staff will present.
Oh, staff. Thank you.
So this is a culmination of a long process that the county has gone through, analyzing the effectiveness of and the efficiency of a leasing program as opposed to a ER&R program internally within the county. The board had reviewed numbers from historical purposes in what ER&R has cost the county in years past and what the fleet proposals have been. We did an RFP back in, I believe it was August of this year, where interested parties responded with a proposal. The presentation ultimately was to, or the decision ultimately was to go with a leasing program, and that's what we have in front of the board today is a proposed contract to enter into leasing agreements to lease the white fleet of the general fund and public health funds, as well as the police pursuit vehicles under the sheriff's office. Any questions?
Frank, appreciate the briefing. Are there any potential cost savings to the general fund based on?
There were considerable cost savings of, depending on how you looked at the analysis, of anywhere between $100,000 to $250,000 a year, as well as a considerable cost reduction in capital costs that the leasing program affords the county, because in the leasing program, we only purchase that part of the vehicle that we're going to own. We don't purchase the vehicle through to its demise, if I can put it that way. So if we plan to own the vehicle for 100,000 miles, that's the piece that we purchase and put capital into at the end of 100,000 miles for a pursuit vehicle, for instance. Then we can sell that into the secondary market. We recover a gain from that well in excess of what we normally recover as surplus on a vehicle of that nature, and then use that to turn around and repurchase the vehicles. It then gives the county the opportunity and the ability, as well as the cash, to be able to cycle through a 5-year recurring purchase of pursuit vehicles, which is the most important aspect of what this leasing program allows us to do. Anything else?
Any questions from the public for staff?
Yeah, Frank, and I apologize, I wasn't here for the briefing. My understanding at this point is that Enterprise actually finances the upfront costs. Is that correct?
So they can finance the upfront cost of what's called the upfit of a pursuit vehicle. We've elected to incorporate that into our cost and not incur the capital upcharge for that, the surcharge. But yes, they could, if we want to in the future, include that into the cost of the leasing program.
And my understanding is that this contract has been customized for Mason County as opposed to a typical leasing contract?
It's a municipal lease in general. It is available to other municipal organizations, but we have customized it to some degree to deal with our insurance problem, our insurance necessities and things of that nature, yes.
And just one other question, any other counties participate in this kind of contractual arrangement?
Not in Washington, there are a number of them throughout the nation. Actually, no, I'm sorry, there is one other county, but nobody is doing pursuit vehicles in Washington.
Actually, Pacific County and Grace Harbor County
Are doing them?
patrol vehicles, yes.
I'm sorry, he's the leasing expert. So I didn't know Pacific, I thought Grace Harbor had started a program. So there are a number of counties that are looking at this.
Okay, and this runs in a 5-year cycle, is that correct?
We can jump out of it at any point in time. Our plan is to run the vehicles to 100,000, pursuit vehicles up to 100,000 miles. That's what they're warranted to today. So this way that we have a warranty coverage on the vehicles up to the point that we decide to sell them into the secondary market.
And you have the choice of selling it yourself or turning it back for a credit?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Comments from-
Public comment.
Okay. Is there anyone out there that would like to comment? Hmm? Hmm?
Okay. Madam Chair, I move for approval. The chair to sign the Enterprise Fleet Management Lease Agreement as presented.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the chair to sign the Enterprise Fleet Management Lease Agreements as presented. All in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, is there further discussion?
Yeah, just so you know, Tom, and you know, we all have different opinions how we came about this and our decisions for it. Mine were very simplistic. When looking at the actual dollar amounts, it was really close. It looks like there's a savings on this side right now doing it this way, but even if it wasn't, what we're able to provide is a huge difference. Since I became a commissioner, I've been battling with the idea of trying to get patrol vehicles, as you know. Came in, we had some, when I first got here, we had some of them that were over 200,000 miles. And what's worse is, that always sounds bad, but some vehicles are just junk anyway. So you can have, 50,000 miles on a junk one, and there's no way to move through that. But the idea of this will give us that opportunity to change it every 5 years, to move them out of it before it gets to be a danger to them. Something I've been trying to do. For the same amount of money that we're talking per year, we're looking at 100 plus vehicles versus 50 plus if we kept it home. And being able to do that for the law enforcement. But the biggest part on top of that is just the idea of making sure that we are protected if something does happen in 5 years. We have a reserve fund that we've set up so that we could get ourselves out of this and still be in a safe position. But if it didn't work, even in 5 years, we keep the cars that we have. We're way better off mileage-wise than we would have been trying to do what we're doing. And as you've been here for a while, you remember up until just a couple years ago, we had a, what was the name of that car again? I forget.
Corsica.
Yeah, we had a Corsica. And it just...
It's a collector item.
Yes, but these type of things we just can't do, and especially if we had an opportunity to finally protect our law enforcement officers out there, we had to take it. And the outlay, by the way, if we tried to do this ourselves, even with the 50, the outlay is more expensive than going through them and having them purchase the cars up front.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a couple of comments. I would also echo some of Commissioner Netherland's remarks on this item. We had deliberated this for a number of months last year, and I also want to credit our ER&R staff at Public Works for working diligently on bringing forward other alternatives to remain under the current system that we have. Some of the options that we considered were doing essentially some loans or levy shift, which were in many ways untenable to me. But nonetheless, they did put a lot of time, effort, and energy into looking at ways to improve the current situation. And so we had to make, at the commission level, then a fundamental decision about how we wanted to approach fleet services in the county. And it's probably not surprising to folks that a lot of our employees spend a lot of their time in county vehicles doing their business. And so, it's important that, whether it's a sheriff's deputy, whether it's somebody from the building department or public health or somebody from the assessor's office, that they have safe, reliable vehicles that are refreshed at an appropriate time frame. As Commissioner Netherland mentioned, that's something that the commission beyond us has struggled with for a number of years. And so this decision also locks the county into doing the right thing going forward on vehicle replacement, and so that we're holding up our end of the bargain, so that we're giving our county staff safe, reliable vehicles in order to do their jobs effectively. So there were a number of things that went into this conversation. It is a shift. It is a very different way of doing things. We're seeing other counties, as was mentioned, start to consider this, other municipalities here in Washington, but certainly this is something that's also already in place in other parts of the country. And I think it's worth the opportunity cost to pursue this option for our county. Potential cost savings aside, it's important that we give our county staff the tools that they need to be successful in their work, and this is a step in that direction.
And I want to make clear, based on something, we haven't given the R&R staff the tools that were necessary to do this all these years. The way it works with budget, you've got some money this year, you got no money next year. So we drop $1 million here, we drop $1 million. They can't just create vehicles out of the air. So the reason why we ended up in this situation is we didn't have a plan, we didn't have a set amount of money. This gave us that opportunity. I want to make clear, our R&R staff, it isn't that they've done something wrong. We just never were able to give them a consistent flow of money to keep buying the cars.
Yeah, I'm truly supportive of this also. It's kind of fun because I go to different meetings where there's other county officials and they're watching us very closely, so we'll make sure that this is done right. Yes. All right, further discussion? Did we vote?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion passes.
Thank you to all our
Thank
staff on
you.
both sides.
And thank you too. All right, now we'll move on to item number 9. Are there any department heads or electeds that would like to address the commission? Yes.
Oh.
Yay.
If I may just add a little bit to the ER&R conversation. I also want to thank our folks very much. It was a lot of work, as you acknowledged, and took a lot of collaboration, and not always easy, but we got there, and hopefully we presented the information that commissioners felt was useful to making your decision. And I also want to thank commissioners for being mindful about our folks, our employees, and also about the potential impact on the other funds. And that's something that we as a department will be paying close attention to. And I appreciate your care and thoughtfulness in that regard as well. So, thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Okay, would any other department heads want to address the commission? No?
His head just keeps going, no, 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 no.
I know, it's just kind of fun watching the heads go, no.
Yeah, don't look at me.
All right, so there are there's no public hearing scheduled for today. So we will move on to item number 11, board reports and calendars. Commissioner Netherland, if you would like to go first, Commissioner Schutte, and then I will go.
Sure. Met with Judge Goodell to talk about a few of the things that were going on and the needs for some different security and options at the courthouse, especially with the transition as we're working towards moving district court to another building. There's issues going out there in Harstein Island, and I met with some of the folks out there. I will meet with them shortly for their homeowners association also. I had a left board meeting, Economic Development Council meeting. We had a meeting of the audit committee where I gotta say, the enjoyment that I have working with the Sheriff's Department this last year has been, over the top. The work you guys are putting in and the results you're bringing and the numbers, how straight and accurate they are, I can't thank you enough. It makes all our jobs so much easier. And when you watch that audit committee, everybody getting along in there, that's beautiful too. that's what we would always all hope for. It's wonderful. So thank you for all your work, everybody on the audit committee, the sheriff's department, both. With that, also, that brought us back to our briefings. I'm gonna meet with the HOA at River Hill for Belfair. I met with some folks on code enforcement issues. I have a Mount Moran Temple Board meeting. I have, let's see, Mason County Groundwater Investigation Work Group. We also have, what is that, a code seminar or summit?
That got canceled
Oh,
just minutes ago.
cool. I don't have a code summit to go to. With that, that brings us back and we start over again the next week. Tag, you're it.
Madam Chair, just a couple items. One quick item from last week. Had our first meeting of 2020 of the State Building Code Council. Heard a number of appeals to the State Building Code that was adopted last November. Working our way through that process, as well as starting to track legislation. Of course, the legislative session began yesterday, and there's always a number of issues that impact our day-to-day lives in ways that are visible and sometimes not so visible. But in terms of the State Building Code Council, there's going to be another push on climate change action that would affect some of the building code, and so we'll be tracking those as session rolls along. It is a short session, so we're kind of everything is compressed and condensed. So more to come on that as the next couple of weeks roll out. Moving forward, this week I'm going to be sitting down with Under Sheriff Adams after our meeting today, and then I have a meeting later today with John Bollender from the Mason Conservation District. Also have the MaceCom board meeting. Planning for the Criminal Justice Working Team meeting tomorrow, as well as a call with the Army Corps of Engineers and Hood Canal Coordinator Council later this week as well.
Great, thank you. So, last night we went to it's the Shelton Climber Company Navy Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. It was their pass and review. Wow, how amazing was that? That was probably one of the coolest ceremonies I've been to. These kids are amazing. I love to see the drill teams. They're unarmed, they're armed. They are very talented. You can tell that they truly enjoy what they do. And I could not be more proud of them. They did a great job. Today I have a meeting with Judge Goodell. Tomorrow a constituent meeting. And then I get to be a judge at the DECA regional competition at North Thurston High School. So I'm pretty excited about that. Friday an LSC, which is the Legislative Steering Committee webinar. Friday is also the Chamber Gala at Little Creek Casino. Did you say you're going to?
I'm not attending this year.
Oh, man, you're missing out. You're not going either?
I wasn't planning on it. You never know. I might. So let's announce it in case I show up. But I usually don't.
Oh, I heard they're sold out. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
then I won't have to worry about it.
And then we are not here Monday. There's no briefing. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I think that's about it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. We're adjourned.
You did. Good job.